And I don't know what it is. I flew out here to Chicago and I drove the 2 hours from Chicago in
Yeah.
snow in a March to see the
Uh-huh.
zoo, but there was just something about it.
What were your first
Um,
impressions of it?
for me, it was opportunity.
Got
I
it.
could see so many empty exhibits. It was insane. The cattails on that front pond. I mean, it was
Yes.
wintertime, so there was a lot of ice, so it was hard to
Yes.
see, but you could tell there was no monkeys on those islands for the
Uh-huh.
last 10 years. Exhibits that just hadn't had animals for literally
Yes.
10, 15 years. Walking into holding barns that had so much potential for animals and nothing in it. So for me, as the animal guy at the time,
Yeah.
that's what I was being recruited for, is the
Okay.
animal curator position.
Got it.
For me, it was an opportunity to come in. I mean, that's your dream as an animal curator, is to fill a
Yes.
zoo with
Of
animals.
course.
So I took it on.
You heard that there. That is the Executive Director of Potawatomi Zoo, Josh Sisk, talking about his first impressions as he initially stepped foot in our 100-plus-year-old zoo. More of that later, but first, thank you for listening to another episode of Round the Bend Now and Then. My name is Matt Emery, and I'm a local history nerd. My main mission in this podcast, as well as other Round the Bend material, is to create engaging content that shares how intertwined the South Bend and Mishawaka area's past is to our present. In the podcast, I interview local leaders, business owners, and community members to help tell their stories, because their stories help tell the story of South Bend and Mishawaka. In this episode, I'm privileged to meet with the Executive Director of Potawatomi Zoo, Josh Sisk. For anyone who knows me or who has followed me on social media, you'll know that I have a huge spot in my heart for our zoo. It is an absolute gem in our community. Plus, I've been a neighbor of the zoo for over 20 years, so that's another layer of connectivity. So it was so cool to be able to sit down with Josh and learn more. In this episode, you'll learn all about Josh's journey to becoming the executive director. You'll get a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to operate a zoo, and you'll also hear us take part in a little fun zoo history activity that helps you know where Potawatomi Zoo started, so I'm sure that you'll have an even greater appreciation for how remarkable it has become. I also want to take a quick second to say thank you for listening. If you enjoy these conversations, I'd love for you to follow us on social media as well. I've been having a blast creating these short history right under our noses videos, and it's been amazing to see so many people connecting with the stories. I mean, on Facebook alone, just in the last 90 days, those little videos have gotten 7.4 million views. I'm also extremely excited to be sharing some of these stories every other week on the B100 Morning Show with Brittany Bailey, helping introduce even more people to our area's incredible history. So if you haven't already, come join us on social media. On Facebook, it's Round the Bend Now and Then on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or X, it's simply @RoundTheBend574. And before we get into today's conversation, I'd like to thank the sponsors of this episode, Danbury Insurance and MT Box Computers. Their support allows me to keep telling the stories that connect us to our community's past. If you're looking for a trusted local insurance agency or a dependable computer service, I hope you'll consider supporting the businesses that support this podcast. We'll start by hearing from Danbury Insurance, and then we'll dive into the interview with Josh Sisk, detailing how absolutely amazing our zoo is. I've been working with Danbury Insurance for over 25 years, and I can tell you from personal experience that they're the real deal. In a world where customer service can feel like a lost art, they've always taken care of me the right way, every single time. They're a locally owned agency with deep roots in our community, and that matters. When you call them, you're not getting a call center somewhere. You're talking to people who live here, who care about this area, and who genuinely want to help you and protect what matters most. Whether it's home, auto, business, or life insurance, they take the time to walk you through your options and make sure you're covered the right way, not just the easy way. If you're looking for an insurance agency you can trust, I highly recommend giving Danbury Insurance a call or check them out online at danburyinsurance.com and tell them that Round the Bend sent you. Again, a big thanks to Danbury Insurance for supporting the show and for taking care of folks in our community the way they always have. And now, back to the episode. Well, hey, Josh, I thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking all about Potawatomi Zoo. It is obviously it's been there for over 100 years. So just generations of local folks that just cherish that place. And it has made so many strides in recent years. And it just holds a special place in my heart. And I know that it holds a special place in a lot of our listeners' hearts. So thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And every time I think about when I hear that from people, not being from South Bend
Yeah.
myself, it's I don't have that history. I
Uh-huh.
only know what we've done in the last 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
So I love hearing the stories about when I was a kid or when I
Yep.
used to bring my kids. It makes it even more special.
Absolutely. And it has more meaning in doing what you do and why you do it. And
Exactly.
so thanks for coming
Exactly.
on and sharing a little
No,
bit.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's start off. Let's share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Gosh, yeah, it's been a whirlwind life. I feel like I could write a book, to be honest. I'm born and raised in Missouri.
Okay.
Was a huge animal guy at the time. When other kids were playing sports, I
Uh-huh.
literally at 16 had black bears and mountain
Yeah.
lions and like crazy animals.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had some very I don't know if you'd call them good parents for letting me have a bear.
They
No,
were
they were
good
they were great.
parents,
They were
yes.
amazing. I was always, I think, a little mature for my age, so
Uh-huh.
I would work and take care of all my animals. So my family, my mom and dad. I can always remember my dad saying to my mom, he could be out on the streets, he could be,
Yes.
doing drugs.
Uh-huh.
He wants a bear, let him have a bear. I look back now in the zoo world, and a 16-year-old kid should have never had a bear in a mountain
Right.
lion. But it was a great experience at the time, and they were rescues that I would take in. So
Aw.
I lived on a farm, did the whole farm life, FFA, 4-H, all that, raising
Okay.
animals, and I worked for a wealthy family that had animals, so that's kind of what got me into the zoo world.
Got it.
But at 21, I kind of got this weird acting bug. I was going to community college,
Nice.
and I thought, I want to be an actor. And I've always been big on, if you got something you want to try, don't ever get old and
Love it.
regret what you ever did. So I was like, I'm
Love
going to
it.
LA. I'm going to become an actor.
Okay.
I went to Los Angeles. My family, it threw him a circle, like, what? You're always going to be the animal guy. What are you doing? Got an agent, and I worked on the soap operas. I was Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, and Days of Our Lives.
Dang.
I just extra parts, but I
Yeah.
get lines once in a while,
Uh-huh.
but it paid the bills. And
Wow.
I became SAG and AFTRA, which are the unions out there for
Okay.
acting.
Uh-huh.
And but I really started missing the animal world. I was,
Yeah.
I felt like, I always say to someone that wants to be an actor, if that's the only thing you want to do, pursue it. But if you have anything else, you're kind of living your life to win the lottery.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my
Yes.
true passion was the animals, and I knew
Uh-huh.
I wanted to get back to that. So I remember looking into the Los Angeles Zoo
Okay.
and trying to figure out, is there an opportunity here?
Right.
And I became a volunteer there.
Got it.
Started volunteering at the LA Zoo.
Uh-huh.
This is something that's not on my resume,
Yes.
but I worked for Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion.
Nice.
He has an amazing amount of animals. He had parrots and monkeys and all kinds of birds. So here I was volunteering at the LA Zoo. I was taking care of Hugh Hefner's animals in Bel Air.
Yes.
And then till I got full time at the LA Zoo. And, working at the mansion was not really a career. It was more just,
An experience.
it was an experience.
Yes.
And so when I got the opportunity to go on at an actual accredited zoo
Right.
that's focused on conservation, and I knew I needed to take that. So
Yes.
spent about 12 years at the LA Zoo, working my way up into
wow.
management, and then got a bug to go out to Central Park Zoo in New York to work for the Wildlife Conservation Society.
That's
So
amazing. I read that too.
Yeah.
Central Park.
Central Park Zoo. So I became a supervisor there, flew across the country, changed everything. I mean, it was what a whirlwind to go from LA to New York. And then quickly got promoted to go to the Bronx Zoo. So
Okay.
the Bronx Zoo is part of the Wildlife Conservation Society.
Got
so
it.
it runs Central Park, Queens,
Okay.
Brooklyn, a bunch of zoos. Spent, 4 or 5 years up at the Bronx Zoo, until one day I got this call from a recruiter that told me about this little zoo in a town called South Bend. I had asked, I hate to admit it, I had to look up on a map where South
Nothing
Bend
wrong with
was.
that. Nothing wrong with that.
And it was sold to me as a little zoo that the community loves, but it
Uh-huh.
needs some help. That it's
Mhm.
getting ready to go private. It's kind of fallen behind a little bit.
Mhm.
It's coming in a deficit every year.
Yep.
Don't know if it's going to make accreditation. And I don't know what it is. I flew out here to Chicago, and I drove the 2 hours from Chicago in
Yeah.
snow in a March to see the
Uh-huh.
zoo. But there was just something about it.
What were your
Um,
first impressions of it?
For me, it was opportunity.
Got
I
it.
could see so many empty exhibits. It was insane. The cattails on that front pond. I mean, it was
Yes.
winter time, so there was a lot of ice, so it was hard to
Yes.
see, but you could tell there was no monkeys on those islands for the
Uh-huh.
last 10 years. Exhibits that just hadn't had animals for literally
Yes.
10, 15 years. walking into holding barns that had so much potential for animals and nothing in it. So for me, as the animal guy at the time, that's what I was being recruited for, is the animal curator position.
Got it.
For me, it was an opportunity to come in. I mean, that's your dream as an animal curator, is to fill a zoo with animals. So I took it on, and I really thought, this is short term, just going to come in. We're going to get this zoo going. And it was a crazy time. I'll never be able to have a time like this. We brought in probably 130 animals in 18 months. Which,
even prior to you being named the executive director,
absolutely.
In those years, that's when you brought in all those animals.
This was 10 years ago. We brought in 130 some animals, probably 25 new species. So when you think about 25 new species, that's how empty the zoo was. It was just crazy.
It is. So when you first stepped for there, you just literally saw the potential.
I saw the potential. So I took it.
Like HGTV when they walk into a room, like the designer's like,
and it was so much fun. Because all the animals come through quarantine and stuff. So the hospital's full of baby animals and new stuff coming in, and so the news was catching on. We were doing a lot of publicity. It was really kind of what triggered that, kind of just like get the zoo going. And then, at the time, the director at the time had launched out a new master plan and was working on the front entrance. So, but to me, I always, and I'm glad I did this, but I always had this idea that I had to get back to the big zoo. I have to get back where the LA or New York. And so LA actually did recruit me back to become a curator.
Got it.
And, it's where I'd gotten my start. This was a huge position. And so I took the opportunity. So I was here people don't realize this. I was here for 2 years and I left for a year.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So I went back to Los Angeles and I needed to do that because once I left, I realized what a treasure this place was, and I had to get back here.
Wow.
And I was in LA, in this big city, fighting animal activists that didn't understand zoos. Most people didn't even know they had a zoo. And, to leave this community that was like seeing this growth and the support we were getting, I wanted to come back. So in 2019, when I had the opportunity to come back as director, I jumped on it immediately, and it was the best decision I've ever made. So.
I didn't know you had left for that year. It was probably, like you said, good. You were able to gain a little different perspective.
I think if I would have never left, I would have always been thinking I need to get to that big zoo again. I think I needed to leave to realize what we had and get back here. So
do you think taking over a spot that you had already been to, did that present any unique challenges at all, or for the most part, was it more of a positive?
I think it was more of a positive because we already had that momentum going.
Got it.
And we knew what it could be. So there was a $37 million master plan rolled out in 2016, and I can kind of remember the talk in town was a little bit, okay, that's sweet. The zoo's where are they going to get $37 million? It wasn't negative, but the zoo was what it was. I don't think anyone saw the potential.
Yes.
So to see that we've actually put $26 million now into the zoo in the last 7 years. Attendance has gone from 180,000 to 410,000 last year.
That's amazing.
I say this with humility. I remember starting here and people saying, it's a cute little zoo, but if you really want to go to a zoo, you got to go to Brookfield, you got to go to Fort Wayne, you got to they didn't think of our zoo as a part of our community.
Yes.
It was just an animal thing, a little attraction.
Yes.
And it's amazing now to hear that flip and people say how I can't tell you how many times I hear people go to other zoos, and we're not in competition because all the zoos are working together.
Yeah.
But they're always saying, we went to such and such zoo, and I have to say, I really think we have the best zoo.
I hear the same thing from folks going to, comparable, size, and literally they'll say the same thing. It's so unique and
it's unique. I think the size. I think the diversity of animals we have are our size. People's attention spans and budgets. We hear it all the time. I went to a big zoo. After 2 hours, the kids are completely over it.
Yes.
We just dropped $250. We just love being able to come to Potawatomi Zoo, spend an hour, see everything we would see in a big zoo, and get out.
And ride the zoo train.
Yeah.
That was for my boys. That was and we can hear the thing every 10 or 15 minutes. And that's all they wanted to do when we went there was ride the zoo train.
Ride the zoo train, man. When that thing was down, we got a new train this year. My, people worried more about that train than any animal we could have possibly had.
But that's all a part of the experience, though.
It is.
That's all a part of the experience.
For us, we always explain that, we're an accredited zoo. So there's 250 accredited zoos. So it's a very small group. When you think about there's probably 2,000 to 2,500 zoos in the country.
And there's only
250 accredited zoos. So that's unfortunately sometimes how zoos get a bad name because there are some bad players in the field. And, you got the Tiger Kings and you got the crazy people can put animals in their backyard and they're still called a zoo. But when you're talking accredited zoos, we're not buying or selling the animals. They're part of population sustainability and breeding animals and conservation. We're a legit zoo, but to be able to pay for that, we have to have the trains. We have to have, the carousel. We have to have the giraffe feeding.
Yes.
A lot of money goes into running a zoo.
Yes.
So sometimes that can be kind of a conflict. People are like, well, if you're so much about conservation, it seems like you're really focused on trains and carousels.
But that's a part of it.
Well, that's what pays the bills.
That's what you have to do in order to get at the core of your mission.
Exactly.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
It's like working in a school is everything you do has to be to back up your mission of educating kids, and like everything you do has to be to back up, your mission of the
Absolutely.
animals.
And attention span. I mean, what I would love. I was a nerd as a kid. I could come to a zoo, not see a single attraction, and just focus on the animals.
Yeah.
But we live in a world now. People need to be entertained, and we do have a mission of education. But if we can get you in and you have fun and you can ride the carousel and you can do all that, but you can walk away with one conservation message, then we've done our job. So we have to entertain you while you're there.
Yep. And it is for sure, truly. Hey, so as a school principal, I always tell people that you have no clue about that job until you stepped in your shoes, right?
Absolutely.
I assume it's the same as a zoo director, as the executive director of the zoo. Was there anything that surprised you about the job that you really didn't think about before?
One of the biggest things, I was always the animal guy. I was a zookeeper for 15 years. I was always the animal guy, so I wasn't the business guy.
Okay.
If you asked me to sell you a vacuum, I could not sell you a vacuum. If you said no the first time, I'd be like, I am so sorry I bothered you.
Okay, I'm sorry for your time.
So when I think about raising money, I just thought it was something that I just could not imagine. But walking into this position and having the community support, we talk. We have an amazing development director, Margianella, and her and I together, we joke that we've never asked for a single dime.
Wow.
We sell our mission, we talk our passion, I show people what we want to do, and the community comes out for us.
I love it.
And so that was one thing. I was like, oh, I'm actually a development guy. So I think that was probably one of my biggest shocks.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me, that was not who I thought I would be.
Yeah.
But the community makes it easy. I mean, the success follows the success, and they see what we're doing, and it's easy to get people on board. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure when you are, you're uber focused on the animal operations and stuff like that, but then this role is a lot more than that. You're dealing with the community. You're having to, form broader relationships with different folks and different organizations. But that opens up, like you said, just it grows you too as a leader and everything like that. So,
well, and I think people don't realize too what pressure we have because we got a generation that really we're trying to get to buy more into zoos because it's very easy to say there shouldn't be zoos, animals shouldn't be in captivity.
Yes.
And we try to really share what we're doing.
Yes.
And one mistake we make affects zoos across the entire country. So that when we think about, a keeper leaving a lock off or heaven forbid a kid falls into an exhibit, it doesn't just affect Potawatomi Zoo, it affects every zoo across the country. We have this our industry, we have a pressure to always be on our game, to always make sure these animals are being cared for. And, it's people are people and people make mistakes. And so I'd say that's probably one of the most stressful parts is kind of like, we got to be on our A game 100%.
Yes.
Safety, everything, public safety.
But it's also from the opposite spectrum of that is when other zoos do awesome as well. It's like a rising tide lifts all ships. So if at the same time, if you are truly animal conservation and education and everything. Hopefully it will change the perception that folks have of zoos.
Well, and that's why we're trying to get more. That's why we do the rhino encounters and we do the meet the capybaras and meet the zookeepers, because we find that there's so much misinformation about zoos that when we can get people there to actually learn from the zookeepers, can learn about how we care for these animals, talk about our mission.
Yes,
not all the time, but we can always kind of change people's different perspectives on things.
Definitely. Hey, I want to talk just a little bit about the daily operations. Like you said, families go there for an hour and a half, and we leave. But that puppy is running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Believe me, I live 6 houses down. How many people does it take to just run the zoo on an average day?
Yeah, so right now we have 54 full-time staff, but we hire about 100 seasonals. So that's everything from admissions, concessions. But to put that in perspective, 8 years ago, we had 18 full-time staff. So,
Wait,
it's
whoa. 18 only 8 years ago, and you said 54
54
today?
now. Yeah, that's how the zoo has exploded. So,
Wow.
we joke that, this is the first year Josh doesn't have to leaf blow. It's a true statement because it was all hands on deck. I used to when people would leave at
I
night,
love it.
I would be weed eating the zoo, I'd be leaf blowing, and it's just I never had directors under me, we never had an HR department, we never so
So at first you were kinda
it was
you were jack of all trades,
jack of
master
all
of none
trades,
almost.
but yeah, to your point, I mean, especially with this Luminate event, I mean, the team is killing
Yeah.
it. When we think about the zoo opening at 10,
Yes.
we're all here at 8, so
Oh my
we're cleaning the zoo, we're
gosh.
getting the zoo ready, the team is preparing for a
Yes.
full day. We're closing the zoo at 7, flipping it, turning it into a lantern event. There may be a corporate picnic with,
Yeah.
150 people at the same time Luminate's happening, so you got food services
Just
juggling
balancing.
everything. We got a great team though, but
That's all it's
they
exciting, though.
it's exciting, and that's what I think what makes a great team is they love the numbers, they love seeing the people
Yeah.
coming in, and we talk about it all the time, but
Yeah.
they can't help it. It's exhausting, and
Of course.
I think we have 2 more weeks left of lanterns, and I think they're already counting down the minutes. They're like,
I'm sure.
we love it. It'll be nice to have this
I'm
done."
sure. But it is truly a beautiful sight. If folks by the time this comes out, it will be done, but next year, if you plan on doing it again, beautiful at night. I
It's
mean,
beautiful.
beautiful. The lights last year were beautiful, this year and both years were different, and it's just a different vibe to be walking around the zoo. I'm 48. I've been going there since before I can even remember. I have pictures of me next to the little lion drinking fountains, and still when I'm there, like, at night, it's just a different perspective, a different vibe.
Well, and when I moved here, it was an interesting mentality in a small town. And not that we're that small, but when you think about New York, New York and LA,
We are.
because some of the reactions in the beginning would be very much like if we're going to do something, well, it's just South Bend, and I used to drive me crazy. What does that mean? It's just South Bend.
Yeah.
So when
God.
we bring in this lantern event, and we got people going, wow, I can't believe this is something we have in South Bend. I'm glad to hear, but I'm also like, why? Why is that a
Yes.
statement?
Yes.
Why would we not?
Yes.
Why would we not have something that Chicago has, or why would we not? So when I talk to the public, that it's amazing how many zip codes we get from Chicago coming
Yeah.
to this Lantern Festival, and I'll talk to them. Oh
Really?
yeah, I'll ask them. I'm like, why? Were you here for business? No, we saw it on Facebook.
Wow.
And so it's crazy to think about how many times we leave Chicago or leave South Bend to go to Chicago.
Of course.
We have people from Chicago coming here to the Lantern Festival.
That's neat.
No, it's really cool.
But for them, think about them, though. They're leaving the big hustling, bustling urban city. They're going down an interstate, the toll road, and then they drive through a neighborhood.
Exactly.
And then what? There's a beautiful park here, and then, this is what? I mean, it's unique to me.
It's unique. Yeah, it's definitely unique. So we've definitely transitioned to that regional destination, which has been really cool.
Yep. Speaking on the day-to-day operations, what are some of the biggest challenges that your team may navigate just on a daily basis?
I mean, we call ourselves kind of a little mini city because when you think about, we've got the animal department, which is our zookeepers, animal care, and our vet. They have their own. They're thinking about the public, but they're caring for the animals. I just left them. They're having some medical issue with an animal right now that's getting ready to go into surgery, and there's a birth, and they're hand raising babies in the hospital. And every time you think you got to a good point, we hear a call on the radio. I mean, when you got 500, we have 500 individual animals, so you can imagine you're always got someone's either needing medical attention or, I mean, it's just the nature of the business. But so they've got their own. I mean, I'd say that's the most taxing because they're just constantly dealing with that kind of stuff.
And emotional too.
And emotional, absolutely. And honestly, it's just we're kind of dealing with these growing pains, which are amazing. Is that if you saw the parking lot on Monday, it's a Monday. Like when did we used to be busy on a Monday?
Yep.
So when I think about custodial and we just had a lantern event the night before, and they're trying to get all the restrooms now and all the.
Wow.
So it's honestly, I'd say our day-to-day biggest struggle is just keeping up with the growth.
Yes.
It's working and it's happening.
Right.
And we're all excited about it, but we're kind of wing it like, okay, what position do we need to add? Who needs to do that? Are we spreading you guys too thin? I'd say that's probably one of our biggest challenges, just knowing what the next step is and what the next person's going to be. And
you don't know that until you do it. And
we do it.
These are all positive growing pains.
it's-
And I say it's kind of in the schools when we have a new program or something like that where we just dive in and do it. It's almost like we're building the airplane in the air.
Yeah.
So as we go, we're learning and we're adjusting and we're tweaking. And there's no difference down there when you have that many more people. You don't know unless you know. I mean, you don't know until you know.
You can't really get the staff until you know what you need. So, when we're booking a ton of corporate picnics on top of an event, the team may be thinking, well, why are we not hiring more people? Well, we have to do the events first to show that we need the people. And then you can't just keep hiring and hiring and hiring, hoping that we're going to have more events. So it's just keeping up and making sure that the team's getting their time home and keeping everyone happy. So
that's amazing. It's a good problem.
It's a good problem. It's definitely a good problem to have.
And now, a brief word from one of our sponsors. Your business relies on technology, but technology needs protection. Our managed IT and cybersecurity services act like your own in-house security team, monitoring and defending your systems 24/7. We just don't fix problems, we prevent them. Local service, real experts, real security. Call MT Box Computers today at 574-277-2775 or head to their website to learn more, www.mtboxcomputers.com. A link to the website is in this episode's show notes. Thank you, MT Box Computers, for all of your support of our content. I'm so very appreciative and glad to spread the good word about your work. And now, back to the episode. One of the things that makes the zoo absolutely unique, and we've talked about it, is you not only have to worry about operating the zoo, but you have to worry about being a neighbor. I mean, Potawatomi Zoo is surrounded in the middle of a neighborhood. Just talk to us about the uniqueness of that, what challenges that presents, or what kind of opportunities that presents.
Yeah, I mean, first thing to address it, because the number one question I always get is, how are you going to grow? How are you going to expand?
Right.
And I always tell everybody, I'm not really looking to expand. I feel like we got a good product in what we have in our 23 acres. There's still a lot we want to do. We're getting ready to roll out a $48 million master plan that's got a walk-in 15,000 square foot rainforest, that whole Americas area with chain link.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much want to just keep making our campus really, really nice.
Got it.
But to your point, with the growth, parking is become an issue. The city's been great about adding parking. We're working on another expansion for some parking in the park. But there's more amenities coming in even with the city, with the park. So it's just going to even create more parking. So I'm always worried about, I was asking you because you're close to the zoo here. I was like, how's the, because overflow parking used to be Zubu, some of the big events.
A few times a year.
Now we're doing 11 weeks of Luminate, and I see these streets full, clear on a Saturday night. You've got cars parked in front of these houses. It's starting to become a daily thing. I mean, some of these school trips, people are parked here. I loved your response because you were like, "Oh, you see the success of the zoo." Like,
I love it,
and I kind of get the vibe that that's how most people feel. I hope that continues.
Yep. Well, I will continue singing from the mountaintops how I love that.
But I also try to think about myself, and I owned a house here, and there's always people. So we want to make sure that people that are leaving the zoo are being respectful and not leaving trash by their cars. And it's sometimes that parking lot when they clear out looks like the end of days
tailgate.
Yeah.
No, they've been very.
We got to make sure that people are being respectful through the neighbors. That late night events aren't going too late, and car lights aren't in people's windows. So we were always very, very conscious of that. And I'll get calls from neighbors. I always make sure I call them back and make sure I address different issues that may be happening. And, some of them are out of my control. I can't help,
a lot, maybe.
Yep. You kind of pointed out. I mean, I say this with all. I don't mean this as a jerk at all, but you kind of mentioned you moved by a zoo.
Literally,
you're gonna hear it.
I knew exactly what to expect.
You can't complain about animal noises.
No, matter of fact, it's sad when like the what was it a few years ago? Was it the lion had passed?
I know.
I mean, for all my years here, I mean, you hear the lion roar.
You hear the lion, and the new. I think it was because we had the two males, and there was probably competition between them.
Got it.
Because we do have the new male. He just does not.
No,
he'll do it in the mornings, but it's just definitely not to the magnitude.
I missed it. It's just you hear all the animals. I don't know.
I get occasional calls though that the peacock's a little loud in the morning. I'm like, we're not going to get rid of the peacock.
You're not going to muzzle the peacock. Speaking of the peacock, I grew up on Longfellow. I don't know, two or three blocks west here. When I was a kid, a peacock got loose And I just have a distinct memory of Mom, there's a peacock in our backyard. It just kind of meandered down there.
We tried to get more peacocks, and I think they're so territorial. A couple of years ago, the males were leaving.
They weren't having it.
And the funniest story is I got a call from the Humane Society that they had one of them. And somehow, I don't even know, I'd love to have videoed this. Somehow a police officer picked it up in his patrol car and took it to the Humane Society. So I don't know how that happened. I'd love to have seen that.
That's funny. Goodness. So I've worked in schools for 26 years, and best believe when you arrive in the morning, you may have a clear plan for your day, but within an hour, that plan is thrown out the window. And I can only imagine in a zoo or in your position that it's times 10. Talk to me about if there ever been any, I don't know, surprises or funny situations or something that completely kind of changed your day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is the story of our lives. It's funny. I'd hate to talk about it, but we had a maintenance person many, many years ago that chose to separate because he's like, every time I come in, it changes, and I think I'm doing it, and I'm like, I wish I could tell you it was going to be different, but it's a zoo.
Yeah, literally, it's a zoo.
You've got keepers are coming in to their water exploding, to gates not opening, to and we kind of have this rule that it's animals first. I mean, we prioritize the animal and visitor safety and our public safety. So if something comes up that falls within those, you drop what you're doing and you do it. But even for me, I mean, I say this all the time. I could never sit in an office all day. My day is running from one thing to the next. It's never the same. We may have babies born and mom's not taking care of them, so we have the vets there. And that's what I love about the small zoo is I'm the animal guy, so I still get to be hands-on. I get to help with the babies and making decisions with all that. So those are kind of some of the most exciting things. You know, USDA does they do pop-up tours. They have to come and inspect your facility.
Got it.
And they're unannounced. They don't tell you. So when they show up, it's a full day inspection. So it doesn't.
And you have to drop everything. All hands on deck,
and you do a USDA inspection. And we just know that no one gets stressed. That's just what it is. Like we know that's how it works.
That's it.
And
that's it. But that's what makes it invigorating and makes it fun.
Exactly.
And, that's cool. I mean, it's the kind of again in a school. Kind of the same deal is that you're never sitting down. I'm never in my office. You're always running around.
Well, you don't. I mean, we're talking now. There's storms coming in. We don't know we have an event tonight.
Good point.
I got teams asking me, "Are we going to cancel?" Well, we don't know. It's Indiana. I mean, the storm could hit or it may not. So we're having to pivot. Staff may have to come in. Unfortunately, we may have to send them home. We're just prepared all the time for something to change.
And you have to have the people working for you who kind of can roll with it and have that same vibe because like you mentioned, the maintenance guy, you can't come in and be beep, boop, 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 beep. Like your whole day has to be perfectly planned out. You have to be able to just,
it won't work.
I love it. That's fun. I don't know. That's the good vibe. All right. A little bit of the history.
Yeah.
Now, some visitors who come into the zoo today, they may have absolutely no clue how different that the zoo is today than it was, even in my lifetime when I was a kid. My dad grew up in River Park in the 1960s, and my dad and my uncles and aunts and uncles used to tell stories about the zoo used to be free. You can walk right on up. There was no fence around it. You could just walk right up to the animal cages. And that's how much the zoo has grown over the years. Well, today, I'm going to read a few articles or excerpts from articles from the South Bend Tribunes of the past. And I want your gut reaction, your instant reaction.
Oh, no. Okay.
And I think through this little exercise, our listeners will understand how much our zoo has grown and how awesome it is.
Okay, awesome.
All right. This headline is from October 5th, 1931. Zoo receives raccoon, but wants more. Be alert, and if you spy any raccoons in your front yard or walking down the sidewalk, catch them. Raccoons are splendid exhibits for the Potawatomi Park Zoo.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that wild? And it goes on to say that a couple of police officers found a raccoon out in the neighborhood. They caught it and brought it to the zoo. And then it goes on to explain that raccoons are beasts of nocturnal habits, but should not be confused with opossums. Occasionally, an opossum is given to the zoo, placed with the raccoons, and then mysteriously disappears.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy, though, that they're
That is
calling for
great.
raccoons in
That
the
is
zoo?
great. I mean, first of all, it's illegal now. You can't even
Yes.
do that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's funny because we actually get too many raccoons and need to try to do something about it
Try
sometimes.
to
So we
get
actually work
somebody in
with
there.
rescue people to try to
All right, this next one, and I can send you these when we're done, but it's a picture of what it is. It's a Boy Scout walking a bear, okay? Um, did you ever experience a bear? William Rummel of Boy Scout Troop 34 did Friday while serving in place of acting park superintendent Lyle McNabb. So basically, they were just letting this kid just take a
walk
bear
around
and
with
just
the
walk
bear.
around with the bear.
Isn't that funny?
It's come a long way, huh?
Well, what cracks me up though is, time goes so fast.
Yeah.
I'll still have people come up to me and go, "Hey, do you still have that bear we used to feed marshmallows to?" They're like, "Well, that was
no.
about 55, 60
Yes.
years ago, so no, that bear's gone."
But it's just amazing. It's just wild how far
That
it's come,
is, yeah, yeah.
This was 1946, so, I mean, a little post-war World War II. Bread shortage hits South Bend's zoo. The bread shortage is being felt in Potawatomi Park Zoo. The 500 to 600 pounds of day-old bread the animals ordinarily consume each week are no longer available.
Oh my
And so the
gosh.
park department is saying that they're they're sweeping for crumbs. Consequently, bread eaters at the zoo are only getting bigger rations of dog biscuits and milk. Then the milk, incidentally, comes from the zoo's pair of cows.
Oh, my vet would turn over and she she would have a fit. We don't even feed bread to anything anymore.
Oh, it's awful. No, I know. That's
it just
completely.
shows you how far we've come.
Yeah.
Even when we think about animal nutrition and what animals
Yes.
eat and stuff, that bread was one of the main. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
And when you walk around Potawatomi Zoo today and when you see the signs educating guests, it talks about what they eat and everything. And so you guys plan, balanced nutritional diets. And back in the day, they're just
feeding
bread.
Yeah, and probably from a lot of donations and stuff they
Yeah.
can get around town. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But again, that's kind of early community support there,
Yeah.
I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
Just like now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap it up here. There's a few different articles, but in 1948, lion's best friend is a dog.
I've seen that one.
Have you seen this
I've
story?
seen that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So basically, there was a lion a cub who got kicked. I don't know. The parents basically didn't want it, and so this Walter Carruthers, he thought of, I'm gonna get this dog and this puppy, and literally they were best friends. They were inseparable. When they were apart, they would whine and cry. They eat together, but Duke was getting too big. The lion was getting too big. And they literally had to have a meeting with the park board in order to take this dog away from this
Oh my
lion.
gosh.
Like, literally, it says, Duke of Zoo will lose his doggy mate. I mean, it's just
And
nuts that was what they thought at the time. Like,
You
how
know
can
what
we
though?
help?
I have to say though, we recently had painted dogs born.
Yes, and
and
was
we-
a golden
And
retriever
we had a
or
golden
a
retriever that raised them. So we wouldn't, of
cool.
course, leave them in there to be
Yeah.
buddies and stuff. But sometimes having a animal with a companion versus the human raise actually helps them develop more like a natural
That's
animal.
cool.
So that's kind of funny. They might have been onto some modern
Yeah.
things, but then they let it go too far.
Yeah, they did. I think they did. I'll share all these with you. Just neat
No,
little,
that's I love that
just
stuff.
neat
It's-
little. But I think it truly exemplifies how professional our zoo is now, how much it's grown just over the years.
Yeah, I mean,
you
zoos
know?
in general. When you think about the original purpose of zoos, it was
Yeah.
purely about the entertainment of
Yeah.
humans. It was about putting animals in cages.
Yeah.
They were concrete floors, bars,
Mm,
no hiding places. It was really for entertainment. When
yeah.
AZA, the Accreditation Association,
Mhm.
started, that's when the real switch happened to natural environments, a real purpose for conservation. And so,
Yeah.
so we always, it's like any history. We always enjoy reading those stories
Of
and thinking
course,
about the
of
old
course.
days. But you're right, the transition and the whole purpose of why we exist is
Yeah.
like, it's a 360. It's not even the same.
And Potawatomi Park Zoo has nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Oh, I saw pictures of when the circus came in town, I guess the elephants. I have pictures of the elephants swimming in the front pond. They walked them through the city. There's people in the front pond with elephants. And
Oh my! I would love to see
all cool
some
things,
of those
but
pictures. Oh my
definitely things that
gosh.
we don't
No.
practices we don't really do anymore.
No, man. I would love to see some of those old pictures.
Yeah,
if
I'll
you ever
definitely
get a chance,
I'd
man.
love to
That's
share those with you.
cool. So when you hop in your car at the end of the day or end of the night, whether it's after an event, what are some of the more rewarding, just day-to-day aspects that you reflect upon?
I mean, I never take it for granted. I think that when I think about everything we've done over the years, when I
Yeah.
walk out of that office, especially when we've closed, it's really quiet in the zoo. The giraffes are out in the savannah. I can see them across the field and
Okay.
stuff. I just see all the improvements and the
Yep.
landscaping. Even to this day, there's just such a sense of accomplishment that
Yeah.
we're so invested in that place.
Yeah.
We're so proud of it.
You should be.
It's I'd say about every night I do my little walk.
Uh-huh.
I kinda walk the zoo, and
Uh-huh.
it's quiet, and
That's
it's,
cool.
I'm very, very, very proud of what
You
we could
should
do,
be.
so
You should be.
and my personality is what can we do next? What can we
Yeah.
next? And I sometimes it's hard for me to actually enjoy
Yep.
what we've done, so I try to take that moment to not
Right.
focus so much on the 6,000,000 things I need to do now.
Yeah.
It's to focus on, "Look what we've done," so
You have to I encourage you to get on the balcony, get out of your body and look down
yeah,
and just, like you said, to slow down and reflect
yeah.
over that
No, I'm
because
working on that. I
yeah,
try
I
to
know.
do
I
that.
know. Me, I'm the same way. I just want to keep moving and keep diving in, and I've taught myself to kind of take a step back and just reflect, and all the hard work pays off. All right, we'll wrap it up here. I'm going to wrap it up by reading an editorial from the South Bend Tribune 100 years ago. Okay,
Okay.
1926, and it was just titled "The Potawatomi Zoo," and this was in its infancy. I mean, this is when it was young.
Yes.
The Park Board of Commissioners has an opportunity in Potawatomi if it cares to develop it. The collection of animals there, gotten together casually and without much thought, is drawing many interested children and their parents. The public interest is there. The announcement in the Tribune that 2 spotted deer had been born in Potawatomi Park and could be seen there attracted hundreds immediately. So when I read that, I instantly realized that editorial recognized something that's still true today, that people connect deeply, with the animals and with the experiences they share at the zoo. So as you think about our zoo in 10 years, 20 years, hell, 100 years, what does it look like?
Well, and that's why when I think about this revitalization period of the zoo, I really think within the last 8, 9 years,
Uh-huh.
it's really probably more change has happened to be a modern zoo. And I
Right.
think that's what caught my eye about becoming the director was just what you said there. People are interested.
Yes.
Why does this town like South Bend, when you think of any city, Toledo, Fort Wayne, everyone knows their zoo. It's a staple part of their
Yeah.
community. Why can't South Bend have that?
Right.
And I think that's kind of going back to that original
Mhm.
statement was, okay, it's fine, but let's make it amazing.
Yeah.
We can be that place. And we did, and we've made
Right.
it that. So now the sky's the limit. I mean, like I said, we're
Absolutely.
rolling out a $48 million master
Mm.
plan. It's going to have a massive rainforest. I see us
Yeah.
being open 365, well, probably closed on Christmas,
Yeah, of course.
364 days a year.
Uh-huh.
It's just, it's the opportunities are going to be endless. And
Yeah.
we're going to have a zoo that when you get off that toll road, what do you do in South Bend? You go to the Cubs, you go to the
Love
Studebaker,
it.
and you go to the zoo. Like
Love it.
it's going to be a staple part of our community.
I love
and
it.
I think it's already become that.
It is, for sure. All right, Josh. Well, hey, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
No, it's been great talking to you.
All right. Thanks, man. Thank you for listening to another episode of Round the Bend Now and Then. An extra special thanks to Josh Sisk for your time. But more importantly, thank you for your energy and passion towards making our zoo absolutely amazing. Listen to us again next time as we learn more about South Bend and Mishawaka's Now and Then.